All right, so what's going on, everybody? We have Michelle Lee Jacobs with Real Brokerage, and I'm David Sandoval with Reach Home Loans. We're going to give you some tips on the perfect open house. So Michelle here, I actually met her through an open house, and she's been killing the game, these past few years in real estate. So I just wanted to, have you out here and ask you some questions on, how do you set up for open houses?
Hi everybody, Michelle Lee Jacobs. So funny backstory. We met because I was taking down my signs for an open house, and David was setting up signs for another agent at in the same neighborhood. And David reached out to me. He came up to me. He's like, "How did it go?" So we started talking from then, and I invited him to an open house. So if you need anybody to host open houses with you, call David. He's the best.
Thank you, thank you.
He's
I
the best.
appreciate that.
So I started doing real estate when I was in Nashville, and I had my previous brokerage. They were really good at open houses.
Okay.
So they had like master classes on how to effectively run open houses. And here's a little bit different. I feel like Florida's a little bit more relaxed, but they always taught us to set up your signs the day before.
Okay.
So that way it starts like the visibility on your open houses. Here, I have not done it, but I do go early enough to set up my open house signs and basically start, like people start coming into it. Like they start seeing it. I set them up in like the main street and then into the neighborhood and make sure that I have at least like 15 open house signs for, maximum visibility. Um, One thing that I started doing differently for open houses, well, I have snacks, obviously.
She always has yummy snacks.
I learned that from another agent.
Yeah.
By the way, like whatever I feel like works, I just copy that and I use it on mine as well. But this agent had Pringles and the mini chocolates. I used to bring like popcorn or like bigger size open house or bars.
Right.
And when I did that open house and she had all these things, I was like, people were just grabbing them. I think because they're smaller, and I was like, oh, that's good. And I started copying that. So put up your signs early enough. Snacks, have some good snacks, because some people just come in for the snacks. They look around and they just grab snacks, especially if they have kids.
Okay.
And one thing that I started doing differently was definitely being more relaxed at open houses. Like I host open houses for other agents.
Okay.
And I learned everything about the house. And the one thing that I used to do a lot, I think I used to stress out like, oh, what if they ask me this question? What if I don't know? I'm going to make them sign in. Now you've seen, like, I don't even make people sign in. Actually, I give them something of value. The open houses that I've done, that when first time home buyers come in, I always offer my home buying guide.
Okay.
And even if I didn't ask them to sign in, they say, hey, can I give you my email so you can send me this via email?
Okay.
So automatically, I'm giving them something of value.
Yeah.
And they offer their information to me without me having to say, can you sign in for the seller or whatever, whatever script you have for open houses. Like I'm just now very relaxed, and I think it works for me. That is to a point that I think if you're relaxed, the people that come in feel relaxed.
Yeah, of course.
So it's not like this tension between you two, like, oh, use me as a realtor, or
Right.
like now it's like take a look around. Are you a first time home buyer? Like I ask questions, I ask for feedback, and then take it from there.
So you just pretty much have, a relaxed conversation,
Complete.
make them feel comfortable. I mean, are you walking with them throughout the house?
I am not.
No.
I let them wander. One thing that I learned from experience is you don't, I mean, the thing is, normally I do open houses by myself.
Right.
I have had the privilege to have you by my side lately, but when you're doing open houses by yourself, you cannot go upstairs with a group of people and leave downstairs by itself.
Okay.
Like I tell them about the house, my favorite features of the house, and then let them wander around. And when they come back to me, then I say, do you have any feedback? Do you have any questions? What do you think about the house? Just so that I can provide it back to the listing agent or my sellers,
Okay.
my clients.
So for the realtors who are just getting started in the business,
Mhm.
and let's say they may not be getting the best mentoring, right? Like why not, just purchase leads online rather than, doing these open houses?
I think that one thing that I've been focusing on a lot is you have to get in front of the customer.
Okay.
You always have to get in front of people. So like when you're buying leads online, and I was just having the conversation with someone else about it, is you don't know if you guys are gonna click or not.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like you don't know what the vibe is. Are we a match?
Hmm.
And you may go like a couple of days communicating with each other, and it turns to nothing because you can't convert them because they have not seen you face to face.
I see. Okay.
I feel like a lot of people that you meet online, if they don't know you, like they didn't meet you through social media, like it was a lead that you bought, they don't know you.
Hmm.
They haven't seen you, therefore they're not committed to you.
They don't even know they're elite.
No, yeah, yeah, you're right. So it's a little harder. And I always say, get in front of the customer. In an
Okay.
open house, you're literally in front of people the entire time you're hosting the open house.
Hmm.
I set myself a goal in the beginning of the year that I was going to host 2 open houses every weekend,
Every weekend. So Saturday and Sunday.
Saturday and Sunday. I was going to host open houses. The only days that I didn't do it was uh, S- Super Bowl Sunday
Okay. Because I mean, people are home.
because
Yeah.
who's gonna come to my unless I like promoted like a Super Bowl open house, which I didn't because I really didn't. I wasn't paying attention that it was gonna be Super Bowl weekend when I
Okay.
booked the open house. Unless I like promoted it prior and I knew that I was gonna have like the snacks and the gear and all that stuff, then it would have been a little bit different. I think it's a cool concept for maybe next year.
Hmm.
But I did host because I knew I wasn't gonna hit 2 houses that weekend. I hosted 2 on Saturday
Okay.
back to back. So I did from 11 to 3, no, 11 to 2, and then I did the another round in the afternoon
So
for a
that,
different house.
that must have been a pretty heavy day for you then.
Yeah, but you know what? And another realtor told me this is it's better than a corporate job.
Yeah,
It's
100%.
better than sitting, putting in 8 hours
Hmm.
at a corporate job. Like I would do this all day.
You know what I appreciate, and I was actually, telling a couple of realtors that I work with is how good your signs are.
Really?
Yeah, because your signs are so good. Like so. One of the things I do, like she mentioned, is I go and I put out signs for realtors, and that way, you guys don't have to sweat, right?
Mhm, mhm.
Especially here in Florida.
Which I appreciate a lot.
Yeah, and I mean it's not summer yet, so I actually like being outside,
Mhm.
right? But it's just how strong and thick, and I can just put them down real hard, and instead of these little wobbly pieces of metal that they just bend after because I can actually like stick them with my foot
Yeah.
like a shovel,
Mhm.
and I was like, oh, she's prepared. I was
They're
like,
not flying.
they're not flying off.
No, they're
Yeah,
not.
yeah. And like I like how you have like your picture on them, so it's even more personable.
Mhm.
It's not like a generic like open house sign that you can buy at Home Depot. Like obviously you put in the time to make the design. You put in the time to have them ordered from a certain vendor, and you invested into
Yes,
that, right?
yeah.
So I think that's one of the things that I really like. Just the little details. You can see that you're investing in yourself.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, we're running a business, right?
Mhm.
And we always like, I mean, I guess before I used to like criticize other big corporate, like this is not how I want to do my business when I have my own business, So like you take from experience, you take little things that you don't want to do, things that you want to do, and then make them your own.
Mhm.
I funny that you say that. These open house, the steaks are actually they were recommended by my previous broker in
Okay.
Nashville.
Okay.
Shout out to Nashville Realty Group.
We appreciate you
Joe
for
and
doing that.
Cindy.
We appreciate you for doing that.
Yes, because they teach you to put in the effort into these things, like if we're gonna do this, we're gonna do it the right way.
Okay.
And yeah, you spend a little bit of more money
Mhm.
in doing these things, but like you said, they're not flimsy. Like the wind is not gonna bend them. They're not gonna move because they're like, you put in the investment, you invest in them.
Definitely. And like I mentioned, I think that these open houses, when you actually put these, things that like you said, the little snacks, the buying guide. I'm curious, what is it that you have in your buying guide that makes people want to take it and call you back?
Okay, so that's a good question. So I created, well, another shout out. I am part of the Coffee and Contracts
Okay.
platform, and they're really good at the guides that they help you
Okay.
build, and basically make them your own. The guide has everything from like what questions to ask a future realtor, like the realtor
Okay.
that you are planning on working with or interviewing other realtors. So it's not like here's a guide, use me. No,
Mhm.
I'm letting you have that choice. Like ask me those questions. And if you don't like me how I answer them, then move on to the next person, you know? So
Mm.
it has a basically interview questions for agents. It has the whole entire process from for buying a house from the beginning to end, pre-approval, mortgage, definitions on what escrow is, underwriting, what's happening during the transition, um, inspection, what to look for, even showings like what are your wants, what are your needs when you're looking at houses. Then we have preferred lenders,
Okay.
preferred vendors
Mhm.
that we can recommend to the people that we're working with as well. And then the closing process, what does that look like? And at the end, we also provide vendors for like carpet cleaning, floor cleaning, tile,
Okay.
air ducts, all that stuff that comes with buying a house. Then you see the entire process in one guide.
So was it your idea to add all these vendors, or it was because of that platform?
It was
that
a platform,
Okay.
yes, yes. They already have it laid out for you, and you basically fill it in with the information pertaining to you.
Okay, that's
Mhm,
awesome.
mhm.
All right. Now, what about like, you mentioned that you like to put out your signs maybe the day before. What about door knocking? Is that something that you would recommend you realtors to do?
You know that someone cussed me out. What up?
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, wait, what's happening? I'm just being nice. I recommend it. I I've had some success with it.
Okay.
The house, I have a listing by the beach, and there's a lot of people that actually snowbirds, and they come in they come in during the winter months and they spend a while here, then they go back to their home. I invited the whole neighborhood, and we had maybe 5 or 6 show up
Yeah.
neighbors that came in just to see the house. And our whole conversation during the open house was, if you're not looking, then do you know of anybody that wants to buy? Do you have any friends up north
Boom.
that want to buy?
That's fire right there.
Yeah, that want to, you know, be part of this beach life that we
Right.
have going on here.
Cousins.
Yeah.
Best friends. Like, if I saw in New Smyrna Beach that there's a sign that says um if you have a beach house, you'll always have friends.
But it's so true. It's so true. And I think like that listing by the beach also it catches people's eyes because one, it's very close, it's beachside, but two, it's the one of the biggest houses in that neighborhood.
Mhm.
So like when people were coming in, they were like, "Oh my god!" Like we didn't know that this was gonna be this big. So that was our whole thing. Like, bring your friends and family. Like, have them buy this house. Let us, tell them to connect with us, and we'll make something happen.
I think that house is the perfect example of a don't judge a book by its cover.
Yes.
Because I remember when I first, drove by it and I was like, this looks really small. And then I come in and then boom.
It opens up.
Yeah, you had, the kitchen and then that back, family room, which I think that family room was like 1,000 square feet.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
So I think that that's also such an important piece of having an open house and
Exactly.
having multiple open houses so more people can see and more traction, right?
Yes.
Especially now that, as realtors, you got to have these papers signed by buyers, right?
Mhm.
Where they either do the torn agreement or the BBA.
Mhm.
So that's an opportunity to, have them come in without that pressure,
Right.
right?
Right.
And actually get in front of them
Exactly. I was gonna have David with one of those signs and flip them and
outside.
have them and just bringing people in because everybody that drove by the house, it was like we would see them like they were like looking,
Yeah,
and then they would keep going. And we're like, no, come in. It's big. It's a big
it
enough house.
is. It is.
I want to see it, but
And it was funny because a lot of people would come in and say, wow, this is much bigger than what it looks like. And
yes,
it's true because that was at first when I saw it, I was like, oh, it's a small little house, especially because of that front, like kind
the
of
front.
porch.
Mhm.
It's like so beachy, but you walk in and then like, it's a completely different house, you know. So of course we knew that wasn't going to last in the market. It's already under contract and it's going to be sold. We already know that.
Yes. And obviously, I appreciate you because, like, one of the things about open houses is, like, like I said in the beginning, is signs, right? So, like, you want to have, even if you have 10 signs, 5 signs, like, where you put these signs up is key. And David, obviously, both open houses that we had there, you went around and put up open house signs everywhere. And the majority of the people that came in on Saturday, we asked them, we said, "Oh, how'd you find us?" Like, so that's one of the questions that we always ask. "Oh, how'd you find us? Was it like online? Was it the open house signs?" And they were like, "Oh, we saw the signs." And I'm like, "Thank you." I was like, "You did good."
Yeah, I was telling my wife a couple weeks ago we did an open house where it was a really busy street, and when I think anybody would laugh seeing me putting up these
Crossing the
signs because
street.
I'm like crossing the street. I'm like, oh, like I'm like people are probably like this fool is sacrificing his life, to put these open houses signs, and yeah, like that's what like I one of the things I told you is like I want to earn your business,
Mhm,
and I want to show you that I'm willing to sweat,
mhm.
right? Because I know being a realtor is not easy. That's why I became a loan officer. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But I think being in the real estate industry is not easy at
It's
all.
not, mhm.
So when you have a good team, I think that's very important
Oh yeah.
because that's also something that I tell the buyers. Like, buying a house is a team sport. It's like, I ask them whatever sport they like best, if they like basketball or football or soccer. I'm always like, there's always people in different positions,
Mhm.
but at the end of the game or whatever, the outcome is to win.
The echo, right?
Right. The
Mhm.
outcome is to win. The outcome is to find you the perfect house, or at least a house that fits, most of your needs,
Mhm.
right? Maybe some wants. But having, also a realtor and loan officer that have a good communication and have a good connection is going to make the deal even more smooth.
Of
Don't
course.
you agree?
I agree.
Yeah.
And again, I don't know, not to throw anybody on the bus, but I don't know any loan officers that's doing what you're doing right now.
You guys heard that? Say that one more time to the camera.
Again, we met like, I actually thought you were a realtor because you were putting up signs, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I assumed, right? My fault for assuming. I assumed that you were a realtor, and you asked me, "Oh, how did it go?" And I said, "Oh, it was good traction. There was another open house happening here, and we, everybody got traffic." And then I said something as, "Who are you with?" or something. You're like, "Oh, I'm a loan officer," and I was like, "I have never seen this."
Yeah.
And I think that what you're doing speaks volume to how you're running your business,
Right.
right? Like, you are willing to put in the work, you are willing to sweat, and you're willing to partner up with the right team and people.
Yeah. So yesterday when I was with Marta, I was telling her like I'd rather have like, a team of like five, qualified realtors that I can give y'all all my time rather than working with like 30 realtors that maybe some of them are part-time realtors, which I mean I'll help anybody who
Call them anyways.
Yeah, definitely, but my end goal is to make your business run smoother.
Right.
You
Right.
know,
Mhm.
my end goal is to make sure that, you're focused on, that the house looks good, that the house smells good, that mentally you're thinking about the buyers that are about to come in
Mhm.
rather than where am I going to put up these signs?
Mhm.
Because it may sound, like it's easy, and yes, it is easy, but it is time consuming.
I mean, I've sweated like right before my open houses,
Imagine.
like full on. We're in Florida,
Yeah.
so it's like full on sweat, and I normally like just carry like my blazer, take it off, whatever, and change shirts. But like, I have been full on sweat just putting up open house signs, so it gives more visibility to the area so that they can come in.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, like, a lot of people see it online, but the majority of the people, like our open houses, they see it because they're driving around,
Right.
and they see the house and they're like, "Oh, let me follow the signs. Let me
Yeah.
see what this is about. I like this neighborhood," and then they stop by. One thing that I learned from another realtor was to put up balloons,
Mm.
and that's something that I have not done, and I would like to try just to see. I think it's people's reaction. Like,
Mhm.
like everything that I'm doing right now is for my own experience, right? Like, I'm willing to try things and see, do they work? Does it not work? Then, keep it going.
Right.
But I would love to try balloons. At my previous brokerage, we used to have these like festive little, I don't know what they're called,
Okay.
but they kind of like fly with if it's
Sure. Like
windy.
some strings or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you put them inside, but the open house signs had like holes in between, so you can like stick them, and then it kind of like it catches your eyes.
Mhm.
But I would like to try. They used to like fly away, so I stayed away from them. But I would like to try the balloons next and see because it's
Okay.
also a good point that there's a lot of, here in Florida. There's a lot of signs everywhere.
Right.
What did you say? Divorce signs and
Roofing.
like roofing,
Yeah.
plumbing, people selling cats and dogs. So it's like you can get distracted by all of the signs or not read the open house signs because you see so many signs all the time. So like adding a little bit of something that pops up, then that might work better as well.
Yeah. So again, it goes back to like what I was saying, how your signs like are good quality signs, right? It's not like, you rode with, like a market or a Sharpie, right? No, seriously. I mean, I've seen a lot of those,
Mhm.
right? Like people recycle them,
Mhm.
like, but at the end of the day, I think that already speaks quality, right? And I think that once you actually walk into one of your open houses, right? I'm already thinking, okay, if this sign is quality, then when I walk in there, the house is probably, smells nice or smells clean, right? You got some good elevator music going on, so it's
Yes.
relaxing,
Beachy.
right? Beachy, right? You don't have some like techno crazy
No,
music going
some
on.
house music.
Yeah, yeah. It's like read your audience,
Yes.
right? Houses are meant to be our peaceful place,
Of
right?
course.
So when you do have that, a good smell, a good aroma, and a good vibe, I think that's also something that makes the open house very successful.
Yes, and I think we've had feedback like that too at the open
Yeah.
houses where it's like, oh, this feels good, like it feels like home. We've actually had people that leave the open house and come back again because they want to keep looking at the house. So that's like a good feeling too, like, oh,
Yeah.
they feel welcome enough to like leave and bring their family for a second time later on in the day.
Last week you had that guy who walked in one time and he was like, I like the way this look. And he spent quite a bit amount of
Mhm.
time in there. Then he was like, yeah, I'm gonna tell my wife because the kids were in the car.
Mhm.
This open house was 5 minutes away from the beach. So you could
Yes.
literally tell he had just left the beach. Then the wife comes in, right? Because obviously they have the kids in the car. And then what, like an hour later, he comes back now showered,
Fully dressed, yeah.
fully dressed, and he went back. I think that day he came back like 3 times,
Kidnaps. Yes.
and he put in an offer. So
Yes. Yes.
that just shows you, the power of these open houses,
Yes.
right?
Having the house available for people to see, I think is key.
Hmm.
Like in much more now for unrepresented buyers because they're not working with the realtor. They're trying to like kind of gauge, can I afford this home? Is this a right layout for me? I like the neighborhood. So they want to come in, no strings attached, and be able to walk around the house, imagine themselves in this house, and then go from there. Like if you're working with the realtor, more than likely you would want to see the house
Mhm.
before the open house or after the open house. Some realtors do send their clients to the open houses because the house is going to be available. But I think it's key in today's environment to host open houses for realtors so that they can help out everybody that's unrepresented, but also for clients that are unrepresented to be able to find who they want to work with.
Oh, gee, okay.
Yeah, because just because I have it open, you and I don't click doesn't mean that you have to use me. No? It's up to you.
I like that. Like, it's not like you're like putting this pressure on these people.
No.
Okay, so this is a key, I think, the follow up. So you have this paper. It's Saturday, Sunday. You have this paper full of names. When do you start calling these people?
24 hours.
24 hours.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Except for like on Sunday. Like if
Sure.
the open house was Saturday, then I wait until Monday.
Mhm.
But they're already going into my CRM. They have received like a welcome email.
Oh, okay.
Yes. But if we have something pending, like if they said, hey, can you send me your home buying guide? Then I will send it right away. I will say, hey, thank you so much for stopping by at the open house. Here's, as promised, here's the home buying guide. Let me know if you have any questions. And normally, if they're first time home buyers, I ask them a lot of questions regarding what their criteria is. Oh, what is it that you're looking for? Kind of, sort of, what area, what price range. And if they give me all of that information, then I basically say it back to them in the email, just so that they know that I was paying attention.
Mhm.
And more than likely, like if I'm not writing it down right away, I already have it in my head. As soon as they leave, I'm writing it down. Like I don't do it like right in front of them. So when I'm doing the welcome email, then I'm saying, hey, as promised, here's the guide. But also I can set you up for you know, an alert for 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms in this neighborhood or this zip code in your price range.
Wow.
If you see something that you like, let me know and we can go see it right away
So you have a paper home buying guide
that they see.
that they see, but you keep, so that's more decoration, and then you just send out the
The
digital
copy,
one.
yes.
Oh, okay, that's genius.
But let me tell you,
Okay.
if they sign up with me, like,
Okay.
and we commit to each other, then they get the paper copy.
Okay, so that's like what, after like the first appointment?
Yes, they'll
Okay.
get the paper copy because they can write down
Mhm.
like what part of the process they're in.
Mm.
So they can, and when we're doing showings, they can write down what they like, what they didn't like. That's all part of the guide.
Okay, very good.
Mhm.
Okay, so definitely, I think all these new realtors or even experienced realtors who haven't taken advantage of this powerful tool have gotten a lot of nuggets from you today. So we talked about, good quality signs, good snacks, right? What do you think about having a house? Like, do you feel like the house should already be empty? Would you say that it's okay if it's somebody who's selling their primary home to still have furniture and stuff? Like,
That-
what do you prefer?
I personally, I don't mind. I guess it's the seller's preference.
Okay.
Whether a lot of sellers stay away from having open houses while they're in the home.
Mhm.
They feel like something's gonna happen. Their belongings are still there. In the case that we have seller occupied open houses, then we make sure that they remove everything personal and of value from the home.
Pictures.
A lot of pictures.
Yeah.
A lot of pictures, but also if you have jewelry or anything,
Right.
put it away so that it's not, out of sight, out of mind. I, for recording purposes and like
Mhm.
social media, I prefer to host vacant open houses
Okay.
or staged open houses.
Yeah.
Only because I don't want my video to, how should I say, like, I don't want your house to be on my video and your personal belongings to be on my video on my social media. I don't have a lot of followers, but we don't know who's looking.
And you're about to get a lot of followers because these are tips that, you can just tell from experience. It's not
Mhm.
like you went and you read a book and now we're here actually talking. So it's like, you're talking about every weekend, possibly 6 to 8 open houses a month,
Mhm.
right? I'm sure that you've had some open houses where maybe you didn't get a lot of traction,
But yeah,
right?
Mhm.
But then you had other open houses that were like a boom.
I've had success. Actually, when I first started the year, because last year, 2024, like after, like when November started,
Mhm.
actually the end of October,
Mhm.
it was like down. Like the activity was down. Like I was hosting open houses and like not one person was show. So I was just recording for social media, my reels or whatever. But at the beginning of the year, I said, I don't know what's going to happen in the market, right? Because we never know. But my goal is to host open houses every single weekend.
Okay.
And I have a little chart where I have like little houses and I put the date, I check it off. And I, honestly, I think I'm going to like before the half, because I don't even know the number that I wanted to meet. I just know that I wanted to like do a couple of open houses, before June. I think I'm like past that. Like now I'm hosting Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays.
Wow.
Because that's how I can get like in front of the,
Yeah.
The customer. But I don't know where I was going with this. I don't know. What did you ask me?
We're just talking about nuggets and the importance of we were actually talking about
We'll have to replay it.
yeah,
What was the question?
we'll cut that one. We'll cut this part, no worries. Okay.
Oh no, I know where I was going. Okay. My leads. So because I decided to I made my goal to host open houses every single weekend. I have on the first 2 months, so January and February,
Mhm.
I already had 11 leads in my pipeline.
That's amazing.
And that was like, and to me, that was like cool. And I was like, if I have 11 in the first 2 months of the year, imagine what I can do towards the end of the year.
Yeah.
How many people I can help get in their dream home
Hmm.
or, whatever situation they're in, like they just need to buy a home, even if it's not their dream one. Like how many people can I help from here till the end of the year? And that's what like motivates me more to do open houses.
I think that one of the reasons that you're having so much success in open houses is because you have a great attitude towards it.
Mhm.
I've spoken to a couple of realtors and they're like, oh, I hate doing open houses. I hate, obviously you're putting up your own signs, so of course you hate them. But they just feel like they could be doing something differently.
Yeah.
You know, but it's just like one of those things that it's like pick up the phone, make those phone calls, right? So it's like, pick up your signs and go and go show these houses. 'Cause you just never know who's gonna walk in there. A couple of weeks ago, I heard of a realtor who got $1 million cash buyer
Oh, from an open house.
from an open house. You
Show
know,
up at my open house.
cash buyers, come see her.
Jeez.
You know, I don't want you to go see her and be cash buyers, but we're just joking.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, it's just I think that that's something that it gets you in front of people, it
Mhm.
gets you out of the office, it gets you things that that you want to do,
Mhm.
right? So it's just like, why not? Like, it's better than just being stuck at home, just doing something unproductive.
And that's the other thing, like, right, like we talk about it a lot in my house is if I can sit in front of the computer at home for 3 hours doing whatever it is that I'm doing, right? Following up on my transactions, talking to lenders, talking to title, talking to my customer, um, doing social media, right? Like if I'm doing all of these things from the house, I can do it from an open house.
There we go.
So I could be sitting at an open house and doing all of this work. So why not sit at an open house and give myself the opportunity to meet people?
Boom, there we go. So literally what you could be doing at home, you can just go ahead and do it in the open house and get some leads out of it. And if not, get some content,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
And if not, follow up. So there's just a lot of things that you can be doing rather than just complaining and saying business isn't moving. Business isn't moving because you're not moving. We have a lady right here who is doing open houses every single weekend, right? And she introduced me to another realtor who did an open house on a Tuesday.
Yes.
I thought that was like on a Tuesday. Okay, I'll show up on a Tuesday,
Mhm.
on a Wednesday, on a Thursday, whatever the day of the week is, because people are driving. Marta actually got an appointment, for listing
From that open house
from that
on a
open house
Tuesday.
on a Tuesday at 1 p.m.
Exactly.
So it's just like you're just out there, right?
And you have to be out there.
And I think that also it's that the homeowners are watching,
True.
the neighbors are watching. So they're like, wow, I see her X amount of times working. So whenever I'm ready to buy or I'm ready to sell, I may give this person an interview, an opportunity, because I've heard a lot of people saying, I don't want to work with the realtor that's a friend or, an acquaintance, because there's a lot of, there's a relationship there. They may not take me seriously, right? Rather than working with a stranger who, you can just go up on Zillow and see how many houses you've sold, right? So those stats are out there. So I think that that's a way of, showing the hustle.
Oh, of course. And I've met people from picking up my open house signs. And they see, because they see me in the same neighborhood picking up the signs or putting them up, and they're like, "Hey, you're a realtor? Hey, can you help me out with this and this?" And that's a lead. That's the one that I'm connecting with because they see me working. They're not gonna see me from my house. They're not gonna see me from an office. And to be honest, when it comes to like what things do I want to do or prefer to do for my business, open house is number one. Open house is number one for me as lead gen.
Right.
Cold calling is not one of them.
Okay.
I will put that like at the bottom of the list because I don't even want to be, I don't want people to call me.
Sure.
Our generation right now don't even answer the phone. We have the phones on silent.
Yeah.
So it's like, to me, instead of, because it has worked for me too, right? Like the open houses have worked for me. So to me, I'd rather be out there and meeting the people, connecting with people, talking to people. I used to be very shy. You wouldn't think so.
You shy? I don't know about that.
You wouldn't think so from knowing me today,
Yeah.
but I used to be a very shy person.
Yeah.
So like now I just talk to every single person I see.
There you go.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
The people that see me at the store, we're having a conversation. If I'm getting water from the filter water thing, the gallons, and I'm waiting for you, or you're waiting in line, you're gonna know who I am, what I do, and I'll tell you where the best water is.
There you go. Yeah.
I talk to everyone.
Of course. It's closed mouths don't get fed.
No.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what else do you think we're missing? Like what other, suggestions can you have out there? Obviously have a team, right? Having like, a lender out there in these open houses with you, right? But what else do you feel like it's important for folks to, because who knows who's watching us? It could be a potential buyer, a potential seller, or other realtors that may want to connect with you. Like what else do you feel like, you should say out there to make this to give even more value?
I think, as a realtor, get in front of people and do the open houses. Like David said, even if it's on a Tuesday. Like if you have your weekend booked up for, family affairs, then use the week, in your favor
Mhm.
to host the open houses. Because someone will show. And the other thing I would say is once you connect with someone, follow up. I think that's a big thing. And that's something that I started doing heavily when I started doing the open houses.
Yeah.
Because like it could be like, you guys didn't connect or whatever, but I've gotten conversations from people that I followed up with and they were like, oh my, thank you so much. They would be like, I completely forgot that that's actually what I wanted. And we would have great conversations that turned into a relationship and then purchasing a house and we're friends now. You see what I'm saying? Like I think like follow up is genuine follow up, not just salesy follow up. But someone tells you at the open house, hey, actually we had that happen last Saturday. The gentleman, before we even said anything, because I don't make anybody sign in, before we even said anything, he said, can you email me a list of homes in the area? And I was like,
Yeah.
of course. Like I'm not gonna say no. So he offered, and obviously I have to follow up. If I follow up, he's gonna find somebody else that did.
Exactly.
So now I lost this person just because I didn't feel like sending an email. Like we send emails, we're on social media, we're on sending text messages every single day. Like just follow up with the people that you meet and just start the conversation.
Okay. All right. So, obviously do the open houses, but also make sure that, a couple days after you actually follow through with what you promised.
Yes.
Because like what you just said, that gentleman, I was there, I saw it. He literally said, hey, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and sign your sheet with my name, my information, but not a lot of people are gonna do that.
Mhm.
So the people who are gonna do that, obviously, he felt something from you, some good energy, and was like, hey, you know what? You're working. I see your hustle. Go ahead, and I'm he wasn't from Florida. I think he was from Kentucky,
Mhm.
and he wants to come down,
Mhm.
and he wants to make sure that he's gonna have a list of properties to see, to actually make it happen. So, okay, no, that's amazing. Michelle, what would you like other people to know about you? Maybe it doesn't have to be real estate related. Something that is personable, and it gives them an opportunity to really get to know who you are.
I really enjoy doing real estate, but I also enjoy exploring Orlando.
Mhm.
Orlando, we moved here a year ago, and it has been a game changer for us. Our health, our marriage. I- we live close to my mom, so it's like I'm closer to family, and just being out and about and like exploring the city that you live in. It's like an amazing feeling. Obviously, the weather here is amazing, so it's
Mhm.
not like you're like inside your home 6 7 months out of the year. So you can we get to go outside and we're blessed to like do all these things outdoors, ride our bikes. We are very health conscious,
Mhm.
and everything that we do and we eat, we consume is like with that in the back of our heads. It's like, is this healthy? Is this wholesome? And is it gonna affect us negatively somehow? And even like the people that we surround ourselves with is, you know, how's their energy and how, do we complement each other? So that real estate, fitness enthusiast, and Orlando explorer.
Hey, you heard it right here. Michelle Lee Jacobs. What's your Instagram?
At Mish Lee Jacobs.
All right, you're gonna get that on the link, right? Lending by David. So we appreciate you if you stuck through this whole time. I hope you got some laughs. I hope that you got some nuggets and that we were able to feed your soul, feed your business, and feed your mind. Because over here, you have professionals that want to be able to help you, whether you are the competition or you are somebody that wants to work with us. We're just here to be able to give. All right. So thank you so much,
Thank you.
Michelle.
Thank you
I
so much
really
for inviting
appreciate
me.
doing this with me.
Thank you. I wasn't nervous at all.
Didn't she do awesome? All right, guys. Thank
Bye.
you. Hey, that was
That
awesome.
was cool.
That was wasn't that so
cool.
natural?
That was natural. But also it works because